Okay, that should be better. Test, test. Thank you. Thank you, Finbear. Now, this one. This stream is going to be pretty interesting. Basically, what I'm saying is, imagine if the same government, regardless of what country you're on, decided that, you needed to be locked down for your own good. And we all saw how we all got to vote on that. And we all decided, what was best for us, what was in our best interest, in the name of science. Now, the point of this video isn't to FUD people out at all. It's merely to point out that if you haven't already become involved politically in some way or form, now might be the time to do so. Because once freedoms are taken, they're very hard to get back. Now, I'm pretty sure that, well, I'm assuming some of you guys have seen this one before. Now I'll play the audio through. I'm not sure if I'll get a copyright strike, but it does need to be seen.
But I didn't speak up because I was not a writer. Then they came for the students. But I didn't speak up because I was not a student. Then they came for musicians. But I didn't speak up because I was not a musician.
Basically, as the video goes on, it explains how, as more and more he goes on to explain, as more and more freedoms are taken, people don't tend to care until it affects them directly. Now, with cryptocurrency, for example, it can be a good example of this, because people are not going to care until it affects them. Now, for some reason, there seems to be a unified front in regards to some sort of regulation regarding cryptocurrency. Now, this followed on from the largest collapse in cryptocurrency anyone has ever seen in history. Now, we saw FTX, we also saw Celsius, and there were many others that collapsed, basically. Now, what we are seeing is actually so this news article explains the SEC member themselves believe that the action they took, the SEC, being the SEC, was too much. It was completely wrong and crash for industry. Basically, it sounds like, regardless of, within reason, regardless of what we do, maybe some regulations are coming. And can we stop it? I'm not sure. Is it too late? I'm not sure. Now, I'm not sure. Something doesn't feel right. It's concerning. So I thought I'd make this stream. Now, I'm not sure if any other people are going to listen to this. We're going to hear it. But as I said, now is the time to get involved politically, peacefully, politically. The SEC member calls latest action for attacking staking crypto firms as completely wrong and crash for industry. Yeah, all good, man. All good. The US Securities and Exchange Commission has launched another scanty attack on crypto exchange crack, forcing them to hold their staking program and pay a $30 million fine. In response, the Washington DC-based Blockchain Association of over 100 crypto companies have issued a statement that the SEC action is part of an ongoing attack on the industry. That it is, because it's not just in the US. It could be coming to Australia. It could be coming to other countries. It's concerning. The US Securities and Exchange Commission has an ongoing lawsuit against Ripple Labs for issuing unregistered securities. Many believe that the victory for the SEC could spell doom for the entire crypto sector. Interestingly, the agency has launched another attack on crypto exchange Kraken, forcing them to halt their staking program and pay $30 million fine. According to the SEC, Kraken failed to go through the needed registration as their staking as a service program, Kraken staking. The program allowed users to take part in the validation process by locking up their assets in return for a reward. In response, the Washington DC-based blockchain association of over 100 cryptocurrencies, what's happening, D'Artagnan, has issued a statement that the SEC action is part of an ongoing attack on the industry, which I strongly believe it is. And I've heard, I'm not sure what is coming, maybe the beginning of 2024. Now, this actually goes on to explain, led by CEO Kirsten Smith, the association has stated that the decision against the sector affects the potential of public blockchain network in the country. It says the SEC continues to attack on crypto US companies and retail investors, regulating by enforcement and undercutting the potential of public blockchain networks in the United States. Potentially the world if this catches on. Now, staking is an important part of the crypto ecosystem, allowing individuals to participate in decentralized networks and giving investors more options to earn passive income. Again, most people understand, or I hope they understand, that this is these centralized exchanges. This is middlemen. But the whole point is, if they start coming in for the middlemen first, you go, oh, that's okay. They'll leave DeFi alone. I don't think they will. If they can come for one thing, they'll come for another and another and another. And what's actually going to be left on the table? Probably not a lot over the long term. We're seeing, so the SEC commissioner criticizes the agency. The SEC commissioner criticizes the agency. I had to double read that because that does not sound correct. But the Blockchain Association has long been pushing for the improvement of public policy for blockchain networks. Action of the SEC has forced some crypto companies to move offshore. They're literally stifling innovation and making the move to where they're treated better. Something the association wants lawmakers and Congress to prevent. So this is what I'm saying. We need to, as a whole, not just Hexagons, anyone in cryptocurrency, anyone who believes in freedoms, we might need to get involved peacefully and politically, and maybe write to the lawmakers, maybe write to your local congressman or congresswoman. We've got, what have we got? We can get informed, research a topic, and understand different perspectives and arguments. We can connect with others to join a group or organization that supports our viewpoint, any viewpoint that you believe is true. Make use of social media, share your thoughts on social media platforms, engage with others on the topic, which I'm trying to do now. Write to your elected representatives. Reach out to your local, state, or national elected representatives through letters, emails, phone calls to express your views. Now, I haven't called anyone yet. I've sent some emails, the equivalent of letters, to certain people within the ranks of the Australian politicians. Not sure whether or not they even read it, I've tried to put forward arguments in regards to the taxation treatment of digital assets. I think I got my viewpoint heard there. I'm currently at the stage where we're looking at this one here, the token mapping exercise. This is why I'm so concerned. There's 22 days left to have your say. Basically, you're able to answer questions that they are putting forward. Now, I've covered this kind of extensively. I've put forward a draft so far. I'm pretty happy with it. They even mention basically creating a whole new tax system may not be beneficial for regulation. So now they're at the stage where they're deciding how to regulate these things. And it's concerning because I'm not sure other people are doing this. It's concerning because people might be, talking about the stuff that they're building, which is cool, but are they also contacting relevant politicians? Are they also making their voices heard? Because if no one listens to us now, we're not going to get it back. And if we lose this, it's going to be pretty hard to come back from, if not impossible. Now, what I mean by that is here. I'll go back to this article. Basically saying today's settlement isn't law, but it's another example of why we need Congress, not regulators, to determine appropriate legislation for this new technology. Otherwise, the US risks driving innovation offshore and taking online freedoms away from individuals. Now, it sounds like, oh, too bad, we'll just leave the US. What happens when this is a unified attack? And it is not just the US that is being affected, it is Australia. It is every other nation that speaks English. What happens then? You know? Where are they going to move to? Antarctica? Now, the commissioner also said, criticized the agency, stating that the decision to regulate the industry with enforcement is bad for the average American investor. According to Pierce, the decision to launch a legal action to force settlements is lazy and paternalistic. Man, I don't even know what paternalistic means, so we'll look that up, because we need to be informed. Goes on to explain, the perfect step is to offer guidelines to the industry. Now, paternalistic refers to a type of attitude or behavior in which one person, typically a position of authority, takes control over another person with the belief that they hold. So we're seeing people who have, I would imagine, no idea about cryptocurrency trying to tell everyone how to use cryptocurrency. And not just that. Now, it sounds like the whole FTX collapse was grounds for this whole movement for more regulation. It's saying here, while admitting that transparency around the crypto staking program would have been certainly a good thing because we know centralized exchanges, I'm not saying they're good, I'm saying they're a necessary evil. I'm saying that they hide all their stuff behind their, not paywall, but their systems, you know, their however they trade. Generally, it's not on-chain, and we can't see what they're doing behind the curtain. You know, they're not revealing their secret source. But then it turns out, in some cases, it turns out to be just pure fraud. So that's not a good example. But what I'm saying is, it's starting to appear that our freedoms are being taken away. For some reason. Okay, for some reason, getting some interference. Anyway. So, while admitting that transparency around crypto staking program would be certainly a good thing, it's important to consider the uniform regulatory solution. However, if this solution comes from regulators who appear to be hostile to the crypto industry, it will be less clear. Makes sense. According to Pierce, it's not appropriate to use enforcement action to tell people what is the law in an emerging industry. That's what I'm saying. That's why we have a chance to make this heard in the token mapping consultation paper. Now, whether or not there was one of these in other countries, I'm not sure, but this one flew under the radar. I almost missed it. I was lucky to catch it. Now, the perfect step is to offer guidance to the industry, while admitting that transparency around the crypto staking program would be blah, blah, blah. I covered that already. Now, according to Pierce, it's not appropriate to use enforcement action to tell people what the law is in an emerging industry. Basically, my take on it is, as it's evolving, if they try and regulate it now, and they get it wrong, which they will, it'll crush the industry, you know? That makes no sense at all. It doesn't encourage innovation, and they're actually saying it's probably going to push everyone outside of the current jurisdiction that they're currently in, that they're trying to cover, being the US in this instance. For this reason, the one-off enforcement action and cookie-cutter analysis does not cut it. Most concerning, though, is that our solution to register violation is to shut down entirely a program that has served people well. The program will no longer be available in the US, and Kraken is enjoined from ever offering a staking service in the United States, registered or not. See, once the freedoms are taken, you cannot get them back. Now, you could argue, oh, this is good, because if Kraken ever goes bankrupt and you hold your coins on this particular exchange, then you saved yourself. I mean, that's a fair enough argument, but what I'm saying is, the way that they're attacking everything, they're treating everything the same, they don't care. They want it all gone, as much as they can. To what? Why? Maybe to bring about, or help a CBDC flourish. I'm not sure. I don't have a crystal ball. But it's good to know that these things exist, because it's not a good idea just to bury your head in the sand and go, we'll be okay, we'll be right. We have a saying here in Australia, she'll be right, mate. And we're the lucky country. And I keep telling people, no, we won't be right. We're not the lucky country. If we do nothing, we might we might be invaded. You know, we might lose our economic prowess. We might lose our freedoms. We lost a lot of freedoms, this whole scientific route that we took, but no one cared because we'll be right. And I'm like, seriously, we need to analyze and assess, and we need to make decisions. We don't need to be told by politicians what we can and cannot do. Cryptocurrency is a good example. Now, do not initiate a public process to develop a workable registration process that provides valuable information to investors. Just shut it down. Imagine that. They come across anything now. So first they come for the exchange. First they come for the exchanges. Then they come for, what do they come for next?
Then they came for musicians.
Then they come for the tokens.
But I didn't speak up because I was not a musician. And then they came for the green.
Then they came for the blockchain. What next? Then they come for the code. They've already come for the code. They've already sanctioned addresses through code, through Tornado Cash in the US. What if they define DeFi and addresses that have touched DeFi and treat it in the same manner? And they just decide just to shut it down. Just like they told Kraken they can't use their staking service anymore, even though there is no evidence that I'm aware of suggesting that Kraken was at risk of defaulting. Unlike FTX, maybe had they have looked at FTX, some flags might have gone off, they were committing fraud. Okay, shut your stuff down. It's not viable. But instead, they just go after a normal exchange. No, we decided we don't like this. Our organization is hostile to your industry, so our course of action, shut it down. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. All right. That's about all I got. I'll share this token mapping, my responses at a later date. But yeah, I just thought I had to make this stream because we really need to get involved politically, peacefully, email, call, send a letter, you know, not just to people to tell them, you know, from my experience, how good Hex is, but explain to them the differences, explain to them why regulation is not going to save us. Explain to us how everything is on chain, you can read it. Explain to them centralized exchanges, you give up control of your keys to your coins. Whatever thoughts you have, you know, make it heard. Let the politicians know we are informed. We are an informed citizenry within this industry, across the world. We don't need government agencies dictating to us how to go about our daily business. It is a slippery slope to tyranny. We do not want an authoritarian government anywhere ruling over this cryptocurrency. It's not what cryptocurrency was designed for. But yeah, that is about it. But when the SEC commissioner is criticizing the agency, it makes you wonder how the process came to be, and where are their directions coming from, and how was it passed if their own commissioner is not happy with the outcome. All right, peace out, Hexkins. Woo.